in this offseason, Kenny Gallaudet being the number one signing for them. Obviously, if you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who tends to struggle, you want to surround him with the best weapons possible. Kenny Gallaudet, I don't think you could have done any better than picking him up as a wide receiver this year.
I like Kenny Gallaudet, and I think the deal was pretty reasonable. I mean, yeah, they paid a premium, but he's a premium player. I like the risk they took on Adoree Jackson because if he continues to be hurt, you can get out of it for very little. I mean, you lost Kevin Zeitler, but I look at them getting Nate Solder back, the ability to move, their first-round pick, Andrew Thomas, from last year to his natural right tackle position. To me, that almost feels like you're gaining two offensive line pieces at the same time. Andrew Thomas played last year, but he's not a left tackle. When I reviewed him for the draft last year, there was the number one thing I said. If you try to play him on the left side, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Now, I think he can be a very quality right tackle. And then you mix in the addition of Kyle Rudolph, and you've got pieces. Daniel Jones has no more excuses. And to me, that's the number one thing you had to do in this offseason. You had to put him in a position to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, you know you don't have a quarterback, and you move on. And that's why they get an A. One of the very few A's I've given out all offseason long.
I gave him a B just because I don't like John Ross. I don't like Kyle Rudolph. I don't like Devontae Booker. Like, these are just But you took all of the ancillary pieces. You buried the narrative. The narrative is you have Kenny Gallaudet.
Kenny Gallaudet is now your one, which means Sterling Shepard is he's your slot guy, but naturally he's going to be your two. And then you got Darius Slayton as your three. How many teams have weapons better than that in the NFL? Honestly.
Oh, I don't know.
If you had to grade receivers, where would you put the Giants in the NFL?
6 or 7,
It's
probably.
up there. So you could convince me 5 to 8. I mean, they're not as good as Tampa Bay, and there's a few other teams that I don't think they're as good as. But you have above average to really good pieces around Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Plus, you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. You still got Evan Ingram, who's the ultimate misused piece. Hopefully, Jason Garrett can figure out how to do that this year. And I think the defense is going to be better. Plus, you're picking at 11. I really like this as a landing spot for Micah Parsons if the character concerns are alleviated. There are a lot of character concerns with him.
Such as what?
He's apparently not a very nice guy. Let me put it that way.
I really don't care that he's not a nice guy. You mean to his teammates?
No, this is a guy that has suspect decision-making, and he's kind of a jackass.
Okay.
That's the reason he's falling. Between the opt-out and personality. I'll be honest with you, had he not just run a 4.39, I wouldn't be shocked if they could have gotten him in the second round. That's how bad this has gotten. Because it is, anytime I hear this from every team I talk to, it's a very good indicator that this is well-known. This is not somebody has a grudge or, they were a dick to one guy and that guy's trying to no, this has been everybody I've talked to.
Yeah.
But if they could wind up with a linebacker like that, Jamean Phillips out of Kentucky, it's another guy that I like. They need linebacker help for sure. But the good thing about what they've done is that you have filled all of your needs to a passable point. There's not a fatal flaw of this team anymore. Now you can go get the best player available. If you fall in love with Micah Parsons, go get him. If you fall in love with Caleb Farley, go get it. Whatever the case may be. Whoever it is that you're totally in on, that's the guy that you can go draft. And that's what I look for in off-season rebuilds. I don't want to be in a position like the Cincinnati Bengals are in, where if you don't take a tackle or a wide receiver, you probably did it wrong because you haven't done enough to help your young quarterback. Gettleman has done enough to help Daniel Jones. If he is a legitimate NFL starter, we will know that within 8 weeks of next year. Because if you can't throw to Kenny Gallaudet and Sterling Shepard, you're probably not a starter in this league.
Right.
Especially when you have Saquon Barkley behind you.
The weapons are vastly improved. The offensive line is still a concern for me because it wasn't great last year. And, Saquon Barkley has struggled behind this offensive line. Now, hopefully, let's be honest about that offensive line. All right, so now you got Nate Solder coming back at left tackle. Yes.
I would say that's average to slightly above average in the NFL.
Indeed.
He's oversized to me, and he's not as good as his reputation says he is, but he's still a good left tackle in this league. I think Will Hernandez is a good guard.
I do too.
And I think his name went right out of my head. Andrew Thomas on the right side. I think that's another valuable piece. Another guy that people aren't going to talk about is Matt Pert. Second-year guy out of UConn. I projected him as a guard. They like Shane Lemieux as well.
I like him as well.
I think you have pieces here. I think you have guys that, maybe somebody has to learn a new position. Maybe Shane Lemieux winds up playing center. He played that for a little bit at Oregon. I just look at the line and go, you have pieces that you can move. Now it's not we have to shoehorn Andrew Thomas into playing left tackle. That's when you have terrible offensive line play. When you can let guys battle it out and we play the five that are the best, that's when you have a substantial growth in offensive line play. And I think that's what's going to happen with the Giants this year.
I think the Giants did do very well in upgrading their secondary with the Adoree Jackson signing. He's a guy that's he's super fast.
He stays hurt. But, I look at James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson, and Darnay Holmes, who's a guy that I really liked coming out of the draft last year from UCLA. That's a competitive, high-level secondary.
Yes.
And be really honest. You play Jalen Hurts 2 times a year, and you play Ryan Fitzpatrick 2 times a year. That's good enough to win some games.
It's good enough to win a few games, and I think that the Giants are like we have said. I think they're improved, no doubt. But whether or not they're a contender remains to be seen. Because I still feel like they're the third best team in this division.
They can contend to win this division, and I firmly believe that. If Daniel Jones can be even an average NFL quarterback and stop turning the damn ball over, I think this can be a 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, 10-16. Depends on how the schedule falls out.
Yeah.
We're going to 17 games, so I got to learn to start saying 10-7, 9-8. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the dick. I already hate that with everything I am.
We'll give you a break on it since it's going to be the first year of the 17-week season, but it is going to be something to get used to. The Giants, I did like their offseason mostly. To me, it was just it was a lot of the depth piece signings that I was kind of off on. Kenny Gallaudet is a great addition, but I still don't like your quarterback. I really don't. And it's as Jeremy said, it's only time will tell with Daniel Jones and whether or not he can be a good quarterback in this league.
But you put him in a position to succeed. Of course. There are no more excuses. If he's bad after this year, you move on. And that's all you can ask for with a quarterback in the situation Daniel Jones is in.
Agreed. That's why I went with the B. Jeremy going with the A. The New York Giants, again, there's some good to look forward to in the future there. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside, as always, in the Wicked Weed studio. Don't forget to make your order today online at wickedweedbrewing.com. Also check them out for all the swag at wickedweedgear.com. You can visit any of their 4 locations here in the Asheville area. wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different.